What's going on, everybody? I'm Jeff St. Pierre, and this is episode 98 of the Adult Education Podcast. Now, this week, I'm speaking with author and plant-based warrior Jane Esselstyn. First of all, thank you so much for hanging out today. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to listen to my show. Adult education is a fun project for me that I do out of the love of conversation and of learning. If you want to support me or the show, really the best way to do that is to leave a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening on. Also, if you like what you hear in today's episode, please share it with your friends by all means, whether that's by telling people to listen or sharing via social media. Let the word spread about adult education. Welcome back to you and to me, I suppose, as well. I'll talk more about my little hiatus in a future episode, but for now, I'll just say that I needed that break, and I'm very excited to get back into the swing of things here. I did realize, though, that taking 2 months off from doing interviews definitely had an impact on my abilities here. I kind of struggled to get moving with this conversation today, but I do think we ultimately had a really good chat, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Today, I'm chatting with Jane Esselstyn. She's a registered nurse and a plant-based woman warrior. I use that term specifically because she and her mom just put together a great cookbook, I guess we can call it, called Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior, Live Fierce, Stay Bold, Eat Delicious. If you're not familiar with the Esselstyn family, they've been a big voice in the whole food, plant-based diet world. From Jane's dad, who's a doctor and helped inspire the family's eating habits, to her mom, Anne, who you can watch dancing around with full energy on their YouTube channel. They are living examples of the health benefits that can come from living a plant-based life. Now, I love this book. If you've been listening to Adult Education over the last couple of years, you know that I've dabbled in the plant-based world. I've removed dairy from my life, and I've limited meat as a whole. I'm working to get back into a full plant-based diet, but I'm not quite there yet. I can say firsthand that I've seen the physical and health benefits that come with removing animal products from my diet. It truly is amazing what can happen. That's just the personal benefits. That doesn't even touch on the way limiting animal products would help save the environment from collapse. I don't have time to go into that today, so let's go ahead and just jump into my conversation with Jane Esselstyn. I want you to settle a debate for me, or at least let's try to settle this debate. The difference between plant-based and vegan. Because I've been having this conversation with people, and I don't know if anybody really has a great answer for that.
Oh, well, vegan is sort of a philosophy. Like, you won't wear
Okay.
leather belts, and you're very much like no honey, no, just, you're really letting animals be wild, let them stay where they stay, which I feel like I'm vegan and plant-based. But vegans will, in honor of not harming any animals, they might have potato chips and donuts and Coke and like these plant-based processed things like Impossible Burgers or Beyond Burger, or things that are very rich and processed because there's no animals, which I think is great for the planet. Let's heal the planet, with the climate, with all the animal agriculture and all the nonsense we have going on there. That's awesome. We have to, there'll be no planet on which to be plant-based if we don't save it. So I'm all for vegans. I'm all for what the effort is. I'm all for these different kinds of processed foods, but plant-based means that you're literally plant-based. Like we say whole food plant-based to distinguish, because it's not, eat a potato, not potato chips. I probably have some shoes that have leather in them, and I probably have had them for 20 years, and I didn't even think about it when I was getting them. Now they have vegan shoes, and I can get those now. So one's more of a philosophy and sort of an art of thinking that way, and plant-based is whole food plant-based, I really want to say, is how we eat.
I know you work a lot with your mom in things, and you wrote this book with your mother as well. So have you always been plant-based, or is that something that you kind of got into at some point in life?
That's a great question. My father is a doctor, and he was a general surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic for a bazillion years, like 40 years. And being a breast cancer surgeon and general surgeon and thyroid surgeon, he's just like, all I'm doing is carpentry. I'm just pulling these things out of people. I want to prevent them, which is a great way for a doctor to think. It's incredibly noble, if you will. And so he went with this, he thought about it for a long, long time, like all kinds of research, especially epidemiological research, looking at, what happens around the globe in cultures. He found that eating no meat and no dairy and no oil, that's the trickiest one for people, tends to show no disease, less disease, or the lifestyle related diseases, if you will. not diseases of abundance, which we tend to suffer from in the States, especially. The standard American diet is so rich. We have heart disease and type 2 diabetes and obesity and fatty liver and high blood pressure, just things that are very much in our control. And versus diseases like infections and TB, things that are, not diseases of abundance. And so you asked me, sorry, your question was, how do we get onto it? My father's theory got going then, and my mom just picked up the mantle and said, okay, we're eating this way. Here we go. She had 4 kids, full-time job. My dad had a full-time job. And we're all these crazy, like nationally ranked athletes. And we're like, what are we eating now? So we all just went with it and it stuck. And here we are 4 years later, 40 years later almost. And there's 20 of us now in our family, 3 generations deep, who eat this way.
So 40 years later, so this is kind of interesting to me because I feel like the plant-based idea, or the idea of plant-based, is fairly new for a lot of people. Like that phrase, I can think back maybe 3 or 4 years, the first time that I really heard that phrase start to come out in popular culture. Obviously, you guys have been working with it a lot longer, but it's interesting to me that it's been around, but it just kind of finally seems to be taking hold for people.
Yeah, it somehow got out of its own little subculture and into the broader culture. I think honestly, a lot has to do with the climate, and a lot has to do with people understanding we're getting more compassionate towards animals, which is great. And it actually is really helpful for your pocketbook, which is kind of an issue right now for lots of people. So no matter what angle you're coming from, this seems to be sort of this universal solution of sorts for people. If it's your health, if it's your pocketbook, if it's your compassion for the other creatures, and if it's your hope for the planet, for your generations to come, this is a really nice path forward. We've been on this for a while, and 40 years ago we certainly did not call it plant-based.
Sure.
Colin Campbell out of Cornell, he's the one we need to thank for that term, and its popular usage. We just said, okay, we're eating no meat, no dairy, no oil, no added fat or sugar. So it was this wobbly thing. But and when plant-based came around, we're like, boom, that's a better way to say it.
It is fascinating the way that food can impact your health. And I've been going down this road a little bit over the last few years myself. I had a doctor that recommended that I stop eating all dairy products. And I tested everything. I was not lactose intolerant, but I gave it a shot, and I found I've had asthma my entire life. I mean, I can count on one hand how many times I used my inhaler over a 6-month period of no dairy, where I was using it almost every single day. Like I found such a massive impact that it was having for my health that I've essentially gotten rid of it, with, the exception of the occasional cheating of a slice of pizza once in a while. I've essentially gotten rid of it from my diet altogether. And it is fascinating. Even on those days when I do cheat, if you will, I can feel it. Like I feel the cheating the next day. And I'm like, oh, that moment where I was like, oh man, I really wanted a piece of pizza. Was it worth this feeling the next day? And I usually come back with the no, it was not worth this feeling.
That's so interesting, Jeff. Thank you for sharing that. Like it is. Nothing tastes as good as healthy feels.
I know.
That's what I say. And it is astounding how you get the messages come home like, oh, you ate this, and then boom, the next day it hits you. I mean, immediately it doesn't hit you unless you have like an anaphylactic reaction, but you have a low level reaction going on. And I would pay heed to that, because you don't want your joints, your knees, your hips, your spine to feel that way. And then they get, locked up as you age. Because we get so many emails and messages from people saying, I can't believe how good I feel. My knees have never, they don't ache. What is this? What is this magic, panacea, this cure-all that was plant-based? And we don't know, because we've been eating this way for so long. We haven't lost 80 pounds. We haven't felt, like, oh, I can't move, to, oh my gosh, I'm doing triathlons. We haven't felt that. And we're scared to veer from this path because it feels so good. I mean, my mom, I don't know if you saw, we have a YouTube channel. I don't know if you've seen our YouTube channel.
I haven't watched it yet. No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Chop. We have 170 videos, all about whole food plant-based eating. And my mom, she's 87. And the YouTube channel, by the way, is called Jane Esselstyn, my name. And it's oddly popular. I mean, here we are, 2 white-haired white women talking about plants. What could be more like dull sounding? But it is a riot because of my mom. She's a pistol. She's my daily dose of hell yeah. I mean, we live next door to each other, and I probably mentioned that she's just active as can be, running, yoga, chopping, cooking, prepping, hauling trees around, planting her garden. She's nonstop. And I want that. I mean, and I know medication at 87. It's wonderful.
I do think that too. I became a dad a couple of years ago, and that was like one of those moments where I was like, man, I want to be around as long as I possibly can for this kid. Like, I want my daughter to experience life with me. I want to experience her life with her. So I need to make sure I'm making the right decisions. And it is interesting too, because you were kind of talking about how, you know, we're sort of in this culture where we've always been taught to eat one particular way, or like that's the way to go. And people are so militant with that idea. They're so steadfast. I did a campaign with that organization, Switch for Good.
Oh, you
Which
just talked to them.
Oh, did you really? Okay, great. I love Dotsie. She's fantastic.
Oh, they're great. Both of them, Doxy and Alexandra.
I haven't worked with Alexandra. I work with Dotsie primarily, but I've listened to their podcast before. But I remember doing commercials for them in my local market in Baltimore, Maryland, and I was getting hate mail from people. I mean, people were calling the radio station, threatening to come by and cause physical harm to me. Like, we were getting letters. I mean, who writes letters anymore anyway? And we were getting handwritten, angry letters at the radio station. It's fascinating to me how militant people get about stuff like this. They are so hardcore into the messaging of, you know, glass of milk for breakfast and whatever the, you know, the food messaging is, that they can't even begin to think about trying something different like this.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, we get all kinds of pushback, but we kind of ignore it because of who wants to invest in
Sure.
back. Yeah, that's amazing. We do get sort of stuck in our ways. And it is amazing when if you are open-minded and open-hearted enough to be open-mouthed and try this, it's a wonderful switcheroo.
Well, Jane, we haven't said the name of the book yet. The book is Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior, Live Fierce, Stay Bold, and Eat Delicious. So I want to start with one thing here about this book being very based for women, but there's still so much in here that anybody can grab from it. So let me ask you this. Aside from the fact that you are a woman and that you and your mother have done so great with all these YouTube videos and all of your messaging over the years, what's the main message that you said we need to write this book for women?
You know what? If I said be a plant-based man warrior, you know, live fierce, stay bold, eat delicious, the same people would have purchased it. Women, because men don't do a lot of buying for books. So I could have called it for whoever, but anybody, no matter how you identify, no matter how you're bodied, you are welcome to use this book and cook from this book. The reason I chose to do this for women, as I mentioned earlier, this is a tip of the hat to my mom, because she picked up this mantle and ran with it back then. And I want to be like her. Be a plant-based woman warrior. Go be like Anne. Check out her birthday video on Instagram. 1 million hits on her, just her doing her thing. People cannot get enough of her 87-year-old activity. It's awesome. But anyway, so my mom for sure, and I have 3 reasons why. Second one is that the majority of humans on earth who do the mental labor of thinking about food, preparing food, serving food, shopping for food are women. Not everybody. I know that there's plenty of men, like my husband's a way better cook than I am, but the majority are women. So this is sort of a nudge to like, hey, the pickle that we're in with our health situation now is kind of been made by us in the name of love. We've gotten into these habits that are greasy and cheesy and meaty and rough on the planet and rough on the pocketbook and rough on our bodies. So let's be fierce, let's be strong, let's be bold, let's serve up more plants, and we can be in control of the health outcomes of so many. And I mean, health outcomes is such a boring term, but like, I really want people to not even think about their health every day, like to not even be aware of it. I don't think about my health every day. I feel so lucky to be unburdened by the worry of disease, or the burden of weight, too much weight, or the burden of anything that's food related. And especially like in America, being born a female, I'm going way into this now, Jeff. I hope you don't.
No, it's okay. Please.
As a woman, like I have 3 brothers, like I said, and all 4 of us freakishly were nationally ranked swimmers growing up. Like how often you usually have like a cheerleader and a druggie and an athlete and a computer whiz. We had 4 swimmers in our family, and we all swam for our universities. We all were ranked nationally. So I'm swimming for the University of Michigan, this crazy fit, healthy swimmer. And I don't like what's happening to my body. Like I'm getting curves and I don't know why why is this happening to my body? And I don't identify with it. Like I'm this nationally ranked athlete, like one of the fastest backstroke times in the nation in this year. And it feels like it's lifetimes ago. Um, and I'm thinking about, what am I going to eat today? What can I eat? Because I have to train, and I have to go to class, and I don't fit my pants. Like, oh, like just my whole world just got to be just this crushing thoughts about food and identity and what I had to do as a person. I knew that my brothers weren't thinking for a microsecond, for one moment, about what they were eating, what they had to wear, how could they train? Did they have enough food to train? None of that. But luckily, right at that moment, when I was a freshman at University of Michigan, training and swimming, boom, this plant-based approach landed in our family's lap. And I was like, oh, okay. I don't like meat anyway. I never liked meat, which is weird. I mean, lots of people don't like dairy, which is, lucky them. It's an advantage, a total advantage, sets them
Sure.
ahead. So I sort of went this route, cutting out all the oil and greasy stuff and the dairy, and, no more meat. It felt great. And, Big Ten champ, NCAA, here we go.
Hey.
And it felt great. And I honestly have been the same size since basically college. And it's so wonderful to like not think or worry about that aspect of being a woman, being a human, being so much time is wasted on that stuff by so many people I know and love. And it's a wonderful burden to not have. So anyway, so be a plant-based woman warrior for a bazillion reasons, and plants powerfully support women above and below the belt.
I also hadn't really thought about this before, and I'm no expert by any means, but I've done quite a bit of research on plant-based and different diets that are out there. I had never thought about cholesterol, that the only dietary source of cholesterol is from animal products. Like I'd never thought about that before. And I was looking through your book and I saw that. I was like, get out of here. I've never seen that in anything else. That is wild.
You know why I include that fact in there? And I'm glad that they made a box out of it.
Yeah.
Or you're looking, it's like a visual, a thing, graphic. Is I had an intern one year, and he, was this senior in high school. Okay, vegan internship. Here we go. Plant-based. Here we go. Cha-cha. I was like, great. Let's just start with some facts. Like, what's the one source of cholesterol in the world? He's like, oh, easy, candy. And I was like, no. Candy probably doesn't have any cholesterol, believe it or not. I mean, some that have milk chocolate in them, maybe, but I'm like, no, none. He's like, well, wait, well, then where's cholesterol? So it's one source. It only comes from animals. Every single cell in our body is made of cholesterol. That's why we have a baseline cholesterol, because you need it, Jeff. I need it. We all need it. Our liver makes it, and it makes absolutely the amount we need. So if we stop eating meat and dairy and all these things, we're going to be making the amount we need. If you're on a cholesterol lowering med, it doesn't let you make your own cholesterol, or it cleaves the enzyme. I could be getting this wrong, but then whose cholesterol are you making your body with? Oh, that egg that you ate, chicken that you ate, and the burger from Jack in the Box that you ate. Like, I don't want to be made of that cholesterol. I want to be made of my own cholesterol. And all your own cells are then making your body with the cholesterol 2x4s that it makes from your own liver.
Somebody listening may get mad at me and be like, think that I'm an idiot, but like, I guess we're just always taught about how cholesterol is bad. Like high cholesterol is always bad. You never really learn so much about where it comes from, though. You just always think if you're an unhealthy person, if you have an unhealthy diet, that you're going to have high cholesterol, but you're never really taught in those health classes in high school or wherever where the cholesterol is coming from. It's just bad diet. That's all you ever hear.
The things that we need to hear about in school, we don't hear about. We need to hear about how to have healthy relationships. We need to hear about sex. I'm a middle school sex ed teacher. So we need to talk about how to be a sexual being, how to have a positive, healthy sex life as an adult. I'm saying have a positive, healthy sex life, period. And how to take care of ourselves financially. But back to the food thing. Yes. Dietary cholesterol. You've heard that term, haven't you?
Yes.
So that is the cholesterol you get from your diet. You have a baseline, which is your Jeff cholesterol, and then there's dietary, which is what you can control that. You can have that not come in your mouth.
So something else that I love that you pointed out in your book is about how being a plant-based woman warrior is also being in a community. And I've found from what I've done or what I've worked with in the plant-based community is that it is a community. Like if you talk to people about being plant-based, they're all in. Like, you become a part of this family. I remember for about a year, I was plant-based, and then the pandemic hit, then my wife got pregnant, and excuses, whatever. I kind of fell off of it. But when I fell off of it, I felt ashamed to tell these people that I wasn't plant-based anymore, because I was like, this is like my new family, and now I'm no longer a part of it. And I like actually felt really heartbroken.
Oh, I can totally see why. We're like a happy tribe of people. I don't know who's more sort of vehement about expressing their identity around it. Maybe Bitcoin people, but like somebody who's totally primary focus, obsessed with like, oh, it's just such good stuff, and I feel so good, and I'm bursting with energy. I mean, so much so that I actually started a camp called Well Now Camp. Well Now, because all these plant-based, and it's a camp for plant-based women warriors. And if it keeps doing really well, we'll have it for men as well. But the reason I started it is because so many plant-based people feel so good. I don't know the right term, but they out feel good their friends.
Sure.
Like their friends, oh, listen, Elizabeth, my connector is we're hurting, and you go ahead to the camp, and you're gonna go hiking and run around and drag tires. My mom runs around dragging a tire behind her. Like she has a belt on with a rope to a tire, and she runs with that. We did that at camp. It was a blast. So fun. But you would have so much energy. Like, I don't drink coffee or anything. I would be on the ceiling if I did. Because you just have a lot of good energy. Your cells are cranking and working and feeling good. So yes, of course, we always want to talk about it.
The two things that I found that were the most difficult for me when I was trying to transition to a plant-based diet. One, if you've been eating unhealthily, or you've been eating the sort of traditional American diet for most of your life, your body, the chemicals in your body, they change. They kind of, the way everything works just changes. So when you try to give up things like dairy or certain sugars, like, your body doesn't really want you to. Like, your brain is telling you, hey, wait a minute. Like, I want that back. There's a certain, I hate to use this term because I feel like it makes people think of drugs instead, but like, there's a certain withdrawal that your body goes through when you're trying to cleanse it from all of those things. And that's not fun. Like, I did it. It was not fun for me for the first couple weeks of trying to get rid of all this stuff.
That's such a great point. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because not many people understand what's going on. You thought your brain wanted it because, like, your tongue doesn't care. Your tongue's just like, oh yeah, this tastes good,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. Your brain tells you, gives you messages, and that message your brain is getting comes, believe it or not, from your gut. Comes from your microbiome in your colons, where this bacteria live. I'm sure you've heard of people taking prebiotics and biotics and probiotics and all this stuff. But that's to feed the microbiome, and the microbiome in your gut, what it mostly wants is what it got bazillion years ago, which is this, like, the best form of fiber, which comes from plants. And I would refer to Dr. Will Bolshevitz or Dr. Robin Shutkin, amazing doctors who do this research, because I've had them present at my conferences and I'm blown away. But they talk about the microbiome like it is this Atlantis within us it drives our immune system and our immune system's function. And so if you feed yourself good, healthy food, like let's say you have oatmeal with kale in the morning, let's just theoretically, and your microbiome's like, oh, yum, 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 this is great, this is great, this is great. So the next morning, that bacteria is like, hey, in order for us to thrive, we want that same food. So you're like, oh yeah, more of that kale and oatmeal, and yum, 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 yum. Okay, let's put that aside. Let's say your bacteria in your gut is used to having a donut, a Pop-Tart, and a Coke for breakfast. So it's like, yeah. Meanwhile, these bacteria are not great for your immune system. It's like burning bad fuel. Whereas the bacteria that break down fibrous foods like oatmeal and kale or plants, they are really helpful at making short chain fatty acids, which feed your immune system and make you have just function so much better, and not inflamed and all that stuff. So what's happening, what you identified, is your gut, your microbiome is used to eating. Just give me some examples of some stuff that you ate that were or just make.
I was a pretty straight meat and potatoes kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like cheeseburgers, whatever, chicken, like the standard like meat and potatoes idea kind of thing.
So the microbiome in your gut that has to digest that stuff is the bacteria that can break down cheeseburgers and potatoes and steak and sausage, just to go with it. They're milkshakes. That bacteria doesn't want to die. It wants to keep breaking down and living and having stuff. So it's like, hey, Jeff, another milkshake, another, more fries, more. And so you're fighting bacteria that want you to feed it. You're not fighting your body. Your body's okay, your tongue's okay, your brain's okay. You're fighting your gut. So the sooner you can put more good stuff in, the sooner you'll crave it, because literally this bacteria in your gut sends the message. This has been a very visual display of this. I'm sorry, this is only on the radio.
No, it's good. It's good. I think you explained it very well. My other thing that made it difficult for me is I think the average person knows how to, say, prepare a burger or prepare some chicken or whatever, like in some capacity, they know how to make it. But when it comes to trying to transition to more plants, I didn't know off the top of my head how to prepare chickpeas. You know, I didn't have, or tofu. Like I didn't have that knowledge in my brain. So it's always easier just to go straight back to like, oh, well, I got some ground beef in the fridge. I'll throw that together and make tacos or whatever. But instead, like I could have been having black bean tacos or something, you know, so I feel like I love your book and books like this because it does lay it out and it's not that difficult. You know, like there's so many great, easy recipes. And I love the bowls too. And this is for me personally, because it's kind of like throw everything inside of a bowl and heat it. And it's very easy to prepare.
That's exactly what it is. Have a great sauce and you're off to the races. Jeff, if you asked me to make ground beef or a burger or I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to begin. I need my biohazard suit. I need new dishes. I need to have antibiotic spray, something, and that spray. I don't even know where to begin. My hard drive would be overwhelmed trying to transition to meat if I had to eat that. So it's actually kind of what you're familiar with doing. And making tofu, we have a whole tutorial section in there, like a tempeh. Yeah. Here's how you do it. And it's so easy. There's nothing, you don't have to clean a cutting board. It's just, everything's done and done. And chickpeas are just like beef. You just ground them up and cook them how you want them. Season them how you would meat. Smash them, make them into hummus, doesn't matter.
It's kind of a trick question when people put out cookbooks, or it's not just a cookbook, but it is.
Ask my favorite. Don't you dare.
That's what I was going to do. You don't have a favorite? Anything in here that you would be like, hey, what are you having for dinner tonight?
How many kids do you have? How many kids do you have?
I have one kid.
So that's easy to say. That's your favorite.
She's my favorite. It's easy.
I have 3 kids. There's no favorite.
Don't lie to me. There's a favorite.
No, not at all. Your heart has room for everybody. No, the sections of the book all were such a blast to do. My mom would say her warrior oats are her favorite because she's had it every morning, and it swear it makes her just bounce like a rubber ball every day. I love the bowl section, but the bowl sections within them, we have a great sauce and a tempeh or a tofu. When we were making the book, I don't know did I mention to you that we wanted to make sure we were on the right track. We had 7 breakfasts, 8 lunches, 9 desserts, and 9 dinners and 44 desserts. So making this for women, we knew we were on the right track. So we had to choose all these different desserts. But I have to tell you, the plant-based gelato is such a tempting one.
Okay.
I don't make it often because it's so good. I eat it all.
I'll keep that in mind. That is
My husband's ricotta lasagna. I would march across the country to eat it. There's so many good things. Barbecued pulled portobello sliders. Oh, there's 3 Goddess salad is awesome. I'm looking at a list of recipes right now. Hickory smokehouse hummus. That's a winner on.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Well, I've got I got a lot in here to go through and a lot of things to plan here in the next few weeks to try some of these recipes.
I would love to hear how they go for you.
I will let you know. I will look you up on social media and I'll let you know how it all goes.
Awesome.
Well,
oh gosh, the scones, the amaretto cherry chocolate hazelnut scones.
I just saw that.
Oh, those are really, really easy. And you don't have to put all the cherries in if you don't want to, or the hazelnuts. Just go with chocolate chips or go with raisins, whatever you like. But they are so easy and good. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it all sounds so good.
I would eat those every day.
And I got to be careful with this dessert section. I got to be a little bit cautious how much of this I make because it'll just be us eating dessert all the time.
I know. It is like we have like 36 different options of dessert, which that's a lot, but it's also really good. Really good.
Well, there's great stuff in here. Jane Esselstyn, the book is called Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior, Live Fierce, Stay Bold, Eat Delicious. Such a pleasure talking to you. I can't wait to dive into these recipes. Is there a place people can go to if they want to find out more about you or follow along with what's going on with you guys?
Thank you for asking. We do have, my website is janeesselstyn.com, JaneEesselsstyn.com. esselstyn.com. And there we have information about our events coming up, and also just any other news of what's going on around research. And we have our link to our YouTube channel, which is at YouTube. Just look up Jane Esselstyn channel. And on Instagram, we're Jane_Esselstyn_RN, because I'm a nurse, RN.
Jane, such a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate all of your work, putting all of this together and just spreading the message so people can understand the health benefits and just the benefits in general to trying a plant-based life.
Thank you. And we didn't even get below the belt. So you go below the belt with that section, and I'll come back and talk to you more about it, because there'll be plenty to talk about, Jeff.
I think we're going to have to do that. We'll have to do a follow-up here at some point.
Yes, you're the best. You're the best. Thanks so much.
All right, Jane, take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you to Jane Esselstyn for her time today. The book, Be a Plant-Based Woman Warrior, Live Fierce, Stay Bold, Eat Delicious, is out now, and it's full of great recipes and advice. And thank you to all of you for checking out this episode and for sticking with me after my little hiatus. I really do appreciate you. Be well.